Run to the Hills smashed into the UK charts at number 7, giving Iron Maiden their first top 10 single. With a video produced by ace stylist David Mallet, Top of the Pops went wild, as did the emergent MTV, who showed it round the clock. If the single's success set the tone for the year, the best was yet to come. In March, Maiden's third album was released. Based on the passage in Revelations referring to the 666 number and the film Omen 2, which Harry had loved, the result of 2 months in the studio with Martin Birch was electrifying. The Number of the Beast went straight to number 1 in the UK charts.
Its number is 666.
I left alone, my mind was blank. I needed time to think, to get the memories from my mind. What did I see? Can I believe that what I saw that night was real and not just fantasy? Just what I saw in my old dreams were the reflections of my Walkman staring back at me. 'Cause in my dreams, it's always there, the evil face that twists my mind and brings me to despair.
The artwork for the cover of Beast caused almost as much comment as the power and urgency of the music. It depicted a fiendish Eddie with the devil in tow, surrounded by hellfire and damnation. This imagery confirmed in the minds of some worthy souls Iron Maiden's pact with the devil and all his works.
Right, I guess the Number of the Beast probably kind of triggered that whole thing, and it happened in America. Was a big, we had quite a few problems over there, censorship and people, marching up and down inside the gigs, sell your tickets and read the Bible with devil worshippers. I mean, in fact, we never really, that whole imagery was kind of put upon us, really. We just wanted to do our own thing and not worry about what other people thought. We never actually used it as a kind of tool to, be more outrageous. Let's use this whole devil thing. I mean, we never were Satanists or devil worshippers. It's just something there was a couple of songs that, and that people picked up on.
I'm waiting in my cold cell when the bell begins to chime, reflecting on my past life, and it doesn't have much time. 'Cause at 5 o'clock they take me to the gallows pole. The sands of time for me are running low.
When the band heard the news that the album was number 1, they were busy push-starting a coach whilst on tour in Europe. Was this the action of a group of demented Satanists or a bunch of no-nonsense lads from dear old London? The NME decided to sink their prejudices and give Eddie their front-page spread.
Lovers have been sighted and the evidence of war has begun. Many nodding, fighting men, their swords and shields gleam in the sun. All the world defend yourself, get ready to stand and fight for your lives. Just when they has come around, so be prepared to run. Stand your ground. They're coming in from the same. They're coming in on me. Bringing the blazing sun. The battle has to be won.
The Beast tour was bigger than ever. It covered 18 countries and spanned nearly the whole of 1982. Eddie was now a 12-foot monster looming over the band. Record sales worldwide increased accordingly, with the album making 33 in the States and selling over 350,000 copies. It went gold in Japan and Canada and platinum in Australia. By the close of '82, Iron Maiden had become one of the biggest rock bands in the world, and all through the power of the people, not the wireless.
I think at the beginning we never really gave it much thought. It seemed fairly obvious that Maiden music didn't sit very prettily with the likes of the things at the time, be it Kajagoogoo and such like, and particularly with the way that what Radio 1 was playing. We didn't know anything much about America at the beginning, so we didn't even contemplate that. But the whole thing on Maiden was built completely without any thought to radio, and radio has been an added bonus if and when we got it. And of course, historically, we never have, but it's not something that's been a major concern to us at any one point.
If Rod Smallwood knew where the strength of Maiden lay, so did the band. The formula was in place: album, tour, album, tour. Oh, and the occasional new band member. In December, Clive Burr left for personal reasons. The split was amicable, and the lads missed a kindred spirit. But they found another in Nico McBrain, who had been drumming for the French band Trust. Nico fitted in perfectly, and they all went off to Jersey in early '83 to rehearse album number 4. This has always been Maiden's technique: write, rehearse and arrange up front and be ready for the studio well in advance. It's cheaper and it's safer that way. Ready to go, they left one island for another, the Bahamas, and Compass Point Studios. The result? Where Eagles Dare was the lead track on the Peace of Mind album, an album that achieved even greater world sales than The Beast. An album that was also voted #1 metal album of all time by readers of Kerrang, with Beast in second place. Both the cover and a secret backward message in the grooves fed the wild imaginations of the Bible bashers. Little did they realize it was all a complete Mickey take. The World Peace '83 tour started in Hull and ended in Dortmund, Germany in November. The American section of the tour was their first ever full headliner, and this time no concert halls, only stadiums. Was this a gamble?
If you start listening to marketing people or people who you think they know what's best for you, then I don't know. I've always gone by our own instincts, and I don't think you can go far wrong. And whenever we have listened to other people, on the odd occasion, that's usually when you seem to get problems. So, I'm not saying that we're always right, but I think if you go with what you feel, you don't go far wrong. And if you do make a mistake, then I think you can live with that, because you've just done what you thought was right.
Harry and the band were right. The stadiums were sold out, and even without much airplay, the album reached number 14 in the Billboard chart and stayed there for 43 weeks, going gold in the process.
You'll take my life, but I'll take yours too. You fire musket, but I'll run you through. So when you're waiting for the next attack, you better stand, there's no turning back. The builder sounds, the charge begins. But on this battlefield, no one wins. The smell of ice cream smoke and horse's breath as a virgin into sudden death.
Each year it eclipsed the previous one in Maiden's career in terms of success, but the workload had become a well-established routine. Early 1984 saw Harry, Davey, Bruce, Adrian and Nico off to Jersey and then the Bahamas to record the new album. This time the headmaster, as Martin Birch was affectionately called, took the tapes off to mix at the Electric Ladyland Studios in New York. The result was, if anything, more powerful than anything that had gone before. It was called aptly Powerslave, and the cover depicted Eddie as the Egyptian god Horus, up to no good as per usual. The trailer single for the album was this little epic. Looking at the schedule of the World Slavery Tour, it was obvious that Maiden would need the power, simply because they'd be working like slaves. 300 dates in 13 months through 28 countries. Rod Smallwood might or might not have seen himself in the role of slave driver, but one thing's for sure, he was the man who had to solve the enormous logistical problems.
The Maiden show has always been quite huge, particularly the Powerslave and Somewhere in Time tours. We took our own PA, which we added to. Maiden have always had about 100,000 watts of their own PA, which we added to for the festivals. The lighting rig was enormous.
And it had to be. During the tour, Maiden played at the Rock in Rio festival in South America in front of 200,000 fans, and then went on to do 4 consecutive nights at the Long Beach Arena in Southern California to capacity audiences. They were the first band to accomplish this feat, performing for over 52,000 people. Things have come a long way since the Coach and Horses in London. The World Slavery Tour finished in July 1985, and it was just as well there was a live album to come, Live After Death, plus a Knock 'em Dead video. Iron Maiden had been on the road for 5 years. They'd circumnavigated the globe more times than round-the-world yacht racers, and they were now one of the top 3 best-selling artists on the EMI roster. What else could they want? They wanted a holiday, and no one could deny them, especially Rod, who knew just how hard they worked to build up their enormous fan following.
Yeah, Maiden's success in some respects was likened to the snowball effect, that we'd do 1 tour and 1 album, which went down extremely well with the fans. And those fans would in turn turn on their friends, so the next album would be more successful, the tour would be bigger. And it continued snowballing, and it was great fun, because every time you went out, there were new faces, new people, new places. And it was always dependent on the quality of the music and the live performance, not on how much radio MTV we got.
1986 certainly wasn't wasted. Maiden recorded and released a brand new album, Somewhere in Time. They made it in Nassau and in Holland with the same old setup, but for the first time Harry & Co. used synthesizers. Some critics were of the opinion this would water down the hard driving rock that had made Maiden legendary. They needn't have worried. Somewhere on Tour lasted for 9 months and 23 countries. Eddie was now a cyborg, and the entire band was raised above the stage by hydraulics, while an inflatable Eddie head and a huge claw loomed over them. Somewhere in Time reached number 3 in the UK, 11 in the States, and achieved gold or platinum in every other major territory in the world, and there was nothing synthetic about that.
Can't understand what is happening to me. This isn't real, this is only a dream. But I never have felt, no, I never have felt this way before. I'm looking down at my body below. I lie asleep in the midst of a dream. Is it nothing in me? The angel of death has come for me. I can't believe the rhythm of time has come. I don't already, there's so much left undone. And it's my soul and I'm not gonna let it get away. Heaven can wait. Heaven can wait. Heaven can wait. Heaven can wait till another day. Heaven can wait. Heaven can wait. Heaven can wait. Heaven can wait till another day.
There's no peace for the wicked or a rock band, and after a short break the band set about preparing their new album early in 1988. This one would acquire the tag Concept. Not that it was designed that way, it just happened that the songs seemed to link as they were written. As a taster, Can I Play With Madness was released in March that year and went straight to number 3 in the UK.